Should drivers who kill face stiffer penalties? Details in a live report.
MTS holds a special meeting over the Nathan Fletcher sex scandal. What was decided today?
EV Fleet Day rolls into San Diego. We'll show you some of the latest models.
And how about a sandwich so good, they're just like Granny made at the Grove Grinder.
And where this cop with a hop is bringing much needed comfort to police officers. CBS 8 News Live at 6 starts now.
Should drivers who hit and kill someone face more time behind bars than the law currently allows? Good evening, I'm Marcella Lee.
I'm Carlo Cicchetto. That's the question some San Diegans are asking after families gathered at the Central Courthouse downtown to protest against a driver in a deadly hit and run getting his record cleared.
CBS 8's Kirsten Holmes is on the story for us, joining us live now with more. Kirsten?
In San Diego, the sentence for felony vehicular manslaughter is a maximum of 10 years. If it's a misdemeanor, then it's a maximum of 1 year behind bars. The families we talked to today say they want stiffer penalties for drivers who kill. Attorneys we talked to today say that jails are already overcrowded, and this law will help them uncrowd those jails.
A loving, caring spirit, had a huge friend following, just made people laugh, brought joy.
Katie Gordon's husband, Jason, was killed by a hit-and-run driver in downtown San Diego, January of 2020.
Was crossing the street and was hit by a man we believe was drinking and driving, and decided not to stop to see if my husband was alive, and carelessly moved on to go to a taco shop.
Katie and supporters gathered at the Central Courthouse today to call for stiffer penalties for drivers who kill after California laws shortened or reduced sentences in January of 2021. The driver who killed Katie's husband, Jason, in the hit-and-run accident was originally sentenced to 4 years behind bars. He was paroled in 2022 after completing fire camp and was supposed to have a hearing today because he's now eligible to have his record expunged under the new laws. One of those new laws, AB 2147, says the formerly incarcerated can have their records expunged to remove barriers so they can seek jobs as firefighters after participating in fire camp. A piece of that law says when a defendant has fulfilled conditions of probation, the defendant shall be released from all penalties. Defense attorney Jan Rona says the laws make the justice system more fair.
It's very difficult for the public sometimes to comprehend the complexity of these laws, but in general, their intent is to make punishment more closely fit the crime.
Katie says that's not her idea of justice.
When you're on the victim side, when someone takes a life, I believe they should serve time.
These are crashes, not accidents. We can prevent them from happening.
Laura Keenan lost her husband, Matt, to a wrong-way driver in September of 2021. That's why she and San Diego's Safer Streets have been advocating for stronger penalties for drivers who kill.
That means stiffer charges. That means judges really considering the victims as much as the defendants, maybe even more so when they're deciding.
I've lost a lifetime of a father and a love and a husband. And to take a life and only serve 1 year does not seem like justice.
Attorneys we talked to today say that these new laws are meant to make the punishment fit the crime. Critics of the new laws say that their families are forever changed and they're going to continue to fight for stiffer penalties. Kirsten Holmes, CBS 8.
All right, Kirsten, thanks. The city of San Diego is suing this motel in Barrio Logan, calling it a hotspot for drugs and prostitution. The lawsuit says since 2019, police have been called to the Main Street Motel 229 times, with officers spending more than 1,200 hours to investigate reports of prostitution, human trafficking, and overdoses. Investigators say several pimps even advertised the motel as a place to find underage sex workers. The city says the motel's owners have refused to clean up its business, and a lawsuit is the only way to force them to take action to change things.
Tonight, 2 people are under arrest for a fatal shooting at a Claremont park.
Authorities arrested 19-year-old Julian Vargas and 14-year-old boy earlier today. In February, officers found Cesar Lopez Sandoval suffering from multiple gunshot wounds in a park near the North Claremont Recreation Park. Sandoval died from his injuries. Vargas was booked into jail. The boy is in juvenile hall. Both are charged with murder. Up in Northern California, a man is in jail tonight accused of shooting 3 people and killing one of them. One of the injured victims is a CHP officer. It happened this afternoon at a park in Roseville. That's a city northeast of Sacramento. Investigators say CHP officers were trying to serve a warrant on a man when he started shooting at them. One of the officers was hit. Roseville police say the shooter then took 2 hostages at the park and shot both of them. One of those hostages died. Another was taken to the hospital. We don't know the extent of that person's injuries. The wounded CHP officer is in stable condition tonight.
Tonight, a new development in this sex assault case involving former county supervisor and MTS board chair Nathan Fletcher. MTS announced plans to hire an outside party to investigate the allegations made by a former employee. CBS 8's Shannon Handy has more on that and what some MTS board members are saying about the scandal.
MTS board members met behind closed doors for about 2 hours. They not only decided to hire an independent investigator, but they also expressed their frustrations over the scandal.
Mr. Fletcher failed to act in good faith and in a manner reasonably believed to be in the best interest of MTS.
Serving now as interim chair of the MTS board, District 3 council member Stephen Whitburn addressed the media following an hours-long closed-door session this morning, during which time members agreed to hire outside counsel to look into allegations against the agency and former board chairman Nathan Fletcher.
The board wants to know the facts, and it wants to understand the circumstances around those facts.
Both MTS and Fletcher are named in a lawsuit filed by Grecia Figueroa, a former MTS public relations specialist. Figueroa alleges Fletcher groped her on 2 occasions and pursued a sexual relationship with her for months, leading to her abrupt firing on the day he announced his state Senate candidacy. An MTS spokesperson previously told CBS 8 Figueroa's firing had nothing to do with Fletcher, but rather her performance, adding no one on their executive management team knew about these specific allegations until the lawsuit was filed last week. Today, Whitburn echoed that response.
The board did not know until the lawsuit was filed about the allegations that were in the lawsuit.
However, legal documents warning Fletcher and MTS Chief Human Resources Officer Jeff Stumbo of the general nature of the allegations were dated February 17th. The lawsuit also mentions MTS board member and council member Sean Elo Rivera as someone Figueroa suspected may have known what was happening between her and Fletcher, a claim he sternly denies.
I'm pissed. I'm pissed and I'm disappointed. There's a lot of feelings that I have, but I had no idea that any of that was going on. There's allegations that while we were here doing our business, completely unacceptable things were happening. And that is incredibly enraging and disappointing.
As for Fletcher, he maintains the relationship between him and Figueroa was consensual and has accused her of extortion. He's currently at an inpatient treatment center for post-traumatic stress, trauma, and alcohol abuse.
It is the board's intent that the findings of the investigation will be made public. The board also instructed counsel to reject any requests to indemnify or defend Nathan Fletcher.
No word yet on how long the independent investigation will take. Meanwhile, the board will meet again on April 20th, at which point a new chair will be appointed. Shannon Handy, CBS 8.
Thank you, Shannon. The city of San Diego's pothole problem seems to be at an all-time worst following all the recent storms. Just about everywhere you turn, you see extensive damage to our roads. Complaints have skyrocketed on the city's Get It Done app. Pothole complaints are already much higher this year than all of 2021 and all of 2022. During a briefing today, Mayor Todd Gloria said the city will be aggressively tackling the pothole problem now that the weather is cooperating again.
Recent rains and cold temperatures has made repaving our roads extremely difficult. Here's a fact. 70 days this year have been unavailable to us to do critical road repairs in the city because of rainy conditions and low temperatures.
Some of the streets that will be completely repaved include La Jolla Parkway, La Media Road in Otay Mesa, Convoy Street in Kearney Mesa, and Azucar Way in Rancho Bernardo.
I've noticed already some of the roads being paved because the car is not as, the wheels aren't disappearing into the street.
All I know is that a lot of the repairs are already unrepaired, and
it's
potholes
true,
are opening up once again.
That rain got in there and all the asphalt's crumbling, so hopefully those crews can get on top of it now that we're not seeing rain for a while. Juvenile court proceedings can be difficult to understand, so the San Diego Superior Court is hosting a series of virtual town halls to educate the public. By law, juvenile court is confidential, designed to protect vulnerable children from harm because of public exposure.
But that can raise concerns over a lack of transparency. Next Thursday, the court will host its first public webinar. The goal is to answer some of the most common questions that surround juvenile court cases.
All you need to do is to go to our court website, which is sdcourt.ca.gov. Again, it's April 13th at 4:00 p.m. All you do is just click on the link and you're in.
If you can't make it to next Thursday's town hall, more will be scheduled later this year. Tonight, the World Health Organization says it's watching a new Omicron subvariant that has been found in nearly 24 countries. So far, the COVID Omicron subvariant XBB.1.16 has not been found in the United States, but it has been circulating for months now in India, where it has become dominant. According to the WHO, it's similar to the last subvariant, but has one more mutation that makes it easier to spread. Weekly COVID-19 cases worldwide have more than doubled in the past week, but they are lower than peak levels.
As of this week, the state no longer requires doctors, nurses, and patients to mask up in healthcare settings.
But as Sean Chitness tells us, one nurse in the Bay Area says she and many other healthcare workers are worried over what could be ahead with masks going away.
Taking care of patients in San Francisco is a point of pride for Dolores Flanagan. When she's not working at the hospital, she enjoys sketching and visiting Golden Gate Park.
I've always been someone that keeps myself at the highest level of health and fitness so that I am prepared to have the full amount of energy, enthusiasm, and good health to take care of my patients.
Now that the state is moving away from masking requirements in healthcare settings, she and other members of the California Nurses Association are especially concerned about getting long COVID.
I don't think nurses go into this work without a sense of wanting to do their best to take care of patients, and that's my goal as a nurse.
Dolores doesn't always wear a mask outside, but wanted us to see how she usually prepares to go into work, wearing a fitted N95 mask like this while at the hospital.
My principle is that I don't share indoor air with people at all.
Under the new guidance, wearing a mask should always be considered in high-risk settings and could be strongly recommended, but won't be required. Local health departments and individual facilities can make that decision on their own.
My first reaction was one of surprise, a little shocked actually, not because I don't think it's the right time for some context.
UCSF infectious disease expert Dr. Peter Chin Hong says we have more tools now than when we first required masks to stop the spread of COVID-19. So the decision by the California Department of Public Health makes sense. He expects that across the Bay Area, masks will still be required locally, especially in places like the ICU.
You can't eliminate the risk altogether. You're just trying to lower the risk.
Dr. Chin Hong says any policies on masks will be based on the data available. But Dolores thinks the science shows we're still in the middle of a pandemic and still don't know enough about the virus.
I don't want to be sick. I want to be able to work and take care of the people of my city.
A disagreement about the right direction for our health, whether we are another step closer to the normal we remember before COVID, or if we have much farther to go.
Here in San Diego, our county health officials are still strongly recommending people wear a mask in hospitals and other healthcare settings. And several local hospitals are still requiring them for certain patients. Scripps Health tells us its hospitals will still require masks in areas where there is direct patient care. The California Department of Public Health says it will continue to follow CDC recommendations at the community level.
Still ahead tonight, the cleanest fleets on San Diego's streets.
Plus, spring isn't in the air everywhere, where an ice storm has caused hundreds of thousands of people to lose power.
We were basking in the sunshine for today, and temperatures widespread in those 70s. Now we could be looking at some low clouds and some patchy fog along the coast tonight, and a warm up by the weekend. All those details ahead.
And up next, it's called Operation Cookie Monster, but there's nothing sweet here. The FBI and police move in on dozens of accused cyber criminals.